All right,
Perfect.
there you go. So Craig Lerch, this conversation's for you, brother. Other people wanted to watch these shenanigans. That's perfectly fine. We will have evidence now, and a couple other people pop in as we go. I'll let Eric in here. So what do you want to talk about today? What do we want to talk about today? How can I best serve you and help you out?
You and I had a conversation about taking, I loved how you took your age, getting more sales. One is by your 10% of your client base, but also going from the agent to the money to the agent to the house, the money to the house to the agent. And then by doing this, you ultimately become superior in your marketplace by educating people while at the same time helping other agents that may want to come and play an attraction with us. But the bottom line is it'll help you sell more real estate in the mindset while at the same time, a little bonus on the outside that we talked about.
Okay, so here's a recipe. This is my phonetic spelling of the recipe. Okay, the more houses you sell, the more money you make. The more money you make, the more people you attract. The more people you attract, the more houses you sell. And in the process of selling houses, there's this really cool little thing. There's this other stick figure over here that has a little R on it, which is realtors. So in reality, when people start talking to me about saying, hey, Russ, how do I do attraction? Well, the first thing I would say first is to start doing this and running this recipe for two reasons. Number one, this keeps you focused on what is your average sales price in your market there, by the way. So let's use real numbers, your numbers. What do you
use 500 or use 400, whatever.
Okay. So let's say 400. Okay. So 400K is average sales price in your market. So let's say your normal commission check is going to be between $10,000 and $12,000 because you're not always getting 3% on everything. So between 10 and 12 would be gross commission typical on most of your home sales. Good news is if that's on the conservative side, it could be plus from there. Okay. So really what happens when we're going into this conversation, Craig, and people say, well, Russ, I want to do attraction, man. I want to focus on doing only attraction. Okay, well, that's great. But if you're typically doing 10 to 12 sales a year, you're looking at $100,000 to $220,000 a year income, and you're going to trade that for $350 checks, right? So how many $350 checks do you have to get to 10 grand? A bunch, right? So you have to have a bunch of people that are in your system closing. So what happens is when people say, hey, I want to stop selling houses, I want to just do attraction. Okay, number one, do you have the skill set for it? Probably not. Number two, do you have the ability to learn that skill set? Probably so. Number three, can you walk away from 100% of your income and start on something that's not going to be anywhere near that income for 2 or 3 years? Probably not. So really, when we start looking at how this really works, Craig, in the end, like the best solution for almost everybody in our system is to sell more houses, right? And in the process of doing that, you can intentionally start attracting real estate agents so that they start coming to you over time. So instead of saying, hey, I'm going to drop it all and focus on attraction, like there are stone cold pro recruiters that their job is to do just recruiting, and they're highly trained, highly skilled people that know this system in and out, up and down, forward and backwards. It still takes them a year or 2 or 3 to get to the point where they can make 10 grand a month. Okay. So the reason I'm saying that is because I want people to be realistic. So we get people that start jumping in and they start doing things that aren't working. And then eventually like get to the point where like, well, I'm bleeding to death here. I'm starving to death here. This isn't, I'm not Brent Gove running Brent Gove numbers. I'm not, Scott Lewis and all those guys, Rob Flick and Gene Frederick, all those guys that are making 100 grand plus a month. Okay, that didn't happen overnight, right? You think 2 and 3 and 4 year to the point where they got to the point where they could pay their bills without having to trade time for money. That's pretty cool. And then in the process, you still have to manage it. It's not like you just recruit people once and then you just stop and you're good for the rest of your life. Recruiting is like having a hole in the bucket. Okay. Every recruiting system has a hole in the bucket. Every company has a hole in the bucket. So when you're looking at typical real estate company will lose 25% of its people every single year. So if you're not recruiting, so if you have 100 people in your system, if you're not recruiting 2 a month, you're actually going down every year. Okay, so that's very, very normal. So even if we love everybody around us and do an amazing job, we still lose people. So if you get that number below 25%, you're in pretty rare air, right? If you get north of 25%, you got some work to do on retention. Okay, so with that being said, Craig, the best solution for most people is to say, all right, how do I attract more house sales, attract more of these people so I can sell more houses, make more money? And in the process of doing that, accidentally, intentionally, attract real estate agents. Now you got a win-win, keep your bills paid. And the best way to attract real estate agents is through transactions with them. So here's a couple of the reasons why. Number one, they already know you. Number two, they know how you do business. Number three, you can communicate with them on a regular basis for a period of time. Number four, there's a couple of other things you can do after the fact to be able to make sure you add value. So when they are in a position to say, hey, I want to do something different, then you're able to capitalize on that. Okay. So here's the technique most people are using for recruiting. They're calling a bunch of people and saying, hey, how's your business? None of yours. That's my answer, right? Or they're like, why? Like if a real estate agent called you right now and said, hey, let me tell you about my brokerage. Are you open to having conversation? Are you open-minded to having conversation? What would you say to them, Craig?
I just take them and reverse them, but I do it because I know what I'm doing. That's,
Right. Well, you say, you know what? I would love to have that conversation with you. In the process of comparing notes with them, they're going to start realizing that they are actually not in as good a spot as you are. Now, with that being said, most people think that they're in the best place for them. They chose that. And by you telling them anything other, you're basically saying, hey, your choice sucks. You made a bad choice. You made the wrong choice. Is that a great position to start a relationship with? Let's go home, Craig, to your house or my house, and we'll start off the conversation with like, hello, wife. I'd like to start off by telling you you're wrong. Not exactly a great plan, right? It's no different when you're talking to real estate agents. So a lot of this recruiting stuff that people are taught and training on doesn't actually help attract real estate agents. It just pisses them off and aggravates them. Now, are there some successes in that? Absolutely. But how many successes do you want to, how many failures do you want to go through to get the successes? And how many people are you alienating, right? It's like being horrible as a barber. And then you start offering free haircuts. The more free haircuts you do as a shitty barber, the faster you're going to ruin your reputation in town, right? So like the last thing you want to do is do more haircuts or give a better deal on haircuts or promote like, hey, we got a sale on haircuts, half off. Right? Like, no, because the more business you like get good at haircuts first, then advertise half off haircuts, you'll pile a bunch of people and they're like, damn, that was a good haircut for a good price. I'll go back to that guy again. I'll even pay full price for that. Where in the situation we got now, it's like, we're not great at haircuts. And then you go out and booger up a bunch of hairdos and then you got a bunch of bad advertising out there. So we want to make sure we keep the thing moving in a straight direction. So with that being said, how do we get more house sales? That's the video I sent to you. Cool.
Yeah. The house sales is the big thing. That's what these guys want to see. Because the more the house sales, this is over here. We're all looking at how to get more house sales of what we've got.
Yes.
And we were discussing, and that's the key. Right now, I'm getting more house sales.
Okay. So you want to be focused on the $10,000 and $12,000 checks, not as much on the 300, but if we could do the 10 and 12, and over the next 3, 4, 5 years, I get 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 of those a month as a byproduct to do with the house sales, we're good.
Even 10 a month for somebody.
Yeah, right. 10 a month times $3,500, right? But when you get to 50, 60, 70, 80 of those a month popping in, that's when you can start going, maybe I don't want to do as much of this trading time for money with the house sale. I'd like to have a little more control of my time. I'm going to spend more time on this. I'll refer the other stuff out and kind of get back into enjoying things more. That is a real process that actually has happened for a lot of people. It's not a pipe dream, but most of them do really well by doing the house sale thing first. So let's talk about a couple of things to do house sale. So what is a first thing you should be doing, Craig, as a real estate agent to be able to get business to come to you? Because we don't want to chase business, right? It's not what I'm here to teach you.
You want to find out how many people you have in your database, how many people you know.
Yeah. So step one, I would say is how big is your sphere, right? So Craig, because these people haven't seen the whole story, let's put some metrics to this too. So I was standing in Chicago yesterday and I said, guys, do you want to know for a fact that you are working on the right stuff? Do you want to have such a high level of confidence in what you're working on that you will do anything and everything you need to make sure you're doing that stuff, because that is the highest and best use of your time? Is that what you'd like to know today? And they're like, yeah. I said, okay, so let's get you to a high level of confidence knowing you're working on the right stuff. So what is the right stuff to be working on? And there's a couple of people like this, that, the other thing, blah, 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 blah. And one of the people said sphere of influence. I said, okay, great. So you guys have all heard this a million times, right? Where's the best return from your business? Your sphere. Okay, so let's quantify that. If you're working your sphere consistently and doing a good job of adding value to them, not just trying to fleece them or badger the hell out of them. Look at me, I'm a realtor 8,000 times a day, which I see all over Facebook. If you're not doing that stuff, what is a conversion rate supposed to be plus or minus on a good working of your sphere? Do you know what that number is?
8 to 10%.
8 to 10% is a good number. Okay, that's a good number. Now, here's the thing. You might say, well, Russ, gee, where do you know that from? Well, let's see. If we talk to Mike Ferry, Roger Butcher, Tom Ferry, Craig Proctor, Brian Buffini, David Knox, any of the gurus, the guy that's a sweat hogs guy, right? Myself teaching and training my people to work their sphere well. Typically, we can get them right around that 10% range when they're doing the things that they should be doing consistently. Okay. And if you do that stuff consistently over the next year, you start converting your sphere at around 10%. So let's ask this question. So I'm going to pick on Desiree. Did I get that right? Desiree?
Yeah.
Okay. So how many sales do you want to do per year? Do you know?
That's right.
No, excuse me, right.
About financial year, so I would say 50.
All right. Is it sheet breaking up for you guys too, or is it just me?
You're breaking up, Des.
Did I cut out?
Yeah, you're cutting out there. All right, let's grab Michael then. Michael, let's spitball for a second. Michael, we want to jump in here. How many sales do you want to do in a year?
300.
You want to do 300 sales in a year?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, cool. That's not a normal number right here. So give me a second. Hold on. Okay.
I mean, I'm talking about my team. I'm
all right.
talking about my entire team.
Perfect. Great. So give me a sketch of what does your business look like right now? Plus or minus.
We, in the sense of last year we did 85 million. This year we're down.
Okay, great. So, so how many people are on your team?
I would say 8 full-time and maybe 4 part-time, 4 not so full-time.
Got it. Okay, so you're probably gonna be a bad example for this because of the fact that most people are not going to be in your position. I love the fact that you're here though, because here's a couple of things that every one of your people on your team should be doing consistently to get more business coming to them. So you're not responsible for having to hand them everything. Okay, this is teaching a baby bird how to fish a little bit versus handing him fish. And this is systematizing and maximizing and leveraging the stuff that you give to them. If they build this into their sphere and start doing these things, they'll find the business is coming to them more and their conversion rates go up. So for you as a team leader, you want to make sure your people are all doing this also, and you're encouraging this. So that number one, you're holding them accountable. Number two, you're also optimizing and leveraging their ability to convert at a way higher level. Okay. All of these things we do to work our sphere of influence business is the stuff we should be doing to work on lead generated business. It just takes a lot more time to convert on lead generated business versus sphere business typically. Okay. So every person on your team should have, number one, together a list of name, address, phone number, email address, everybody that they know, like, and trust. So here's the reason why. Because there's a bunch of different things we can do with these people. And if we don't have their info, we can't do the whole program with them. And we end up missing parts and pieces of link, and our conversion rate's lower than 10%. Because there are going to be sometimes we're going to email them. There's sometimes we just connect to them on social. And there's other times we're going to actually send something to their house so that we get that connection. Okay. So with that said, every single person on your team and every person on here should have a list, name, address, phone number, email address of all the people that they know, like, and trust. That is absolute step number one. Okay, so if you do nothing else, step number one would be get your sphere built, get that list together, and then add value on a monthly basis. Okay, it's just like if you say, Ross, give me the stupid simplest 1-2 punch of real estate, add people to your sphere, add value to that. People will say, well, Russ, well, how do I add people to my sphere? Well, first thing I would say is go out and do things you enjoy and love, right? Because I knew when I was working sphere business, the more things that I did that I loved, and the more I did the things that I loved, the more people I met doing the things that I loved. And I was connecting with more people, and I was adding people to my sphere doing stuff I liked. So instead of me having to chase stuff around and beat my head against the wall, getting a bunch of strangers that don't know me from the man on the moon and do all kinds of crazy stuff, I was doing business with people that I was mountain biking with and people that I was hanging out, running, biking, swimming, triathlon stuff with. I built a whole sphere of business of people that I did business with because those are the people I was hanging out with. Okay. And some of the techniques that we've got after this are the things that help you build credibility with them so that when we're adding value to them, those people are more likely to do business with us. And we can convert that at around 10%. So think about it like this. If I've got somebody on my team and that person has 200 people in their sphere of influence, they should be able to self-generate 20 transactions from that in a year, just from their sphere of influence of 200. You might go, well, gee, Russ, well, I don't want to do 200. I don't have 200 people. Well, if you don't have 200 people, let's get to work on that, right? So let's get you out doing things you enjoy. Let's get you connecting to people and get you connecting to people in a manner where they're willing to give you this information. I'm not fleecing people. I'm getting people that willingly want to give me their information. So it kind of goes like this, okay? Guy walks up to my table and he's like, hey, I want a hamburger. I happen to be a hamburger guy, right? And I go, okay, well, here's a hamburger. Would you like this hamburger? And he goes, yes, I will. Yes, I would, right? If he asks me for a hamburger and I give him a hamburger, he's going to probably say yes every time. And anybody that doesn't say yes after asking for a hamburger, we want to run from them. There's just probably something wrong with them. If you ask for a hamburger and I try to give you a hamburger and you say, no, thanks, there's something wrong with that person, run, okay? So here's the equivalent of that in the real estate business. When I'm out and about doing stuff, people say, hey, Russ, well, you know, actually like, hey, Craig, how you doing? What do you do? What do you do for a living? And you say,
I sell real estate.
I'm a real estate guy, right? Or whatever variation of that,
There is.
or some elevator speech somebody taught you to say with regard to that, right? And I say, not being a real estate guy, first thing out of my mouth is, how's the market?
How's the market?
Every single room I'm in, I ask that question, and you get asked that question 1,000 times. When somebody's like, hey, what do you do? You're real estate? Great. Well, how's the market? It happens all the time, right? So this is an opportunity to convert that, right? So here's the problem, Craig. Most people are taught in the real estate business, when somebody asks you how's the market, you got to have an elevator pitch ready for them, right? Have you heard that before? Have you seen that before?
Yep.
People have been teaching that since the 1970s. Like the old sales skills, when somebody asks you something, you go into sales pitch mode, right? And that's exactly how you alienate the hell out of everybody and make them run from you and not want to give you their info. And like, why are people still teaching this crap? It doesn't work on me. It doesn't work on you. It doesn't work on anybody for the most part. Rarely does it work on somebody. So let's shift that conversation so we can start converting these. So everybody on Michael's team should have the ability to convert this. So then he's got less pressure on him to drive business to them and cost them, because they're able to get business to come to themselves and convert their sphere at a regular rate. So here's a normal interaction. You say, how's the market? And I go, well, you know, my job as a real estate agent is to help sellers get top dollar for their house and get it sold in a timely manner and help buyers get a really great deal on a house and the house of their dreams, or some variation of that. Okay. And that's not even the worst I've heard. Okay. So first thing we do when somebody says, how's the market? As a real estate agent, we go into sales pitch mode, which does what? Does that attract people to you or scare people from you? Scares people from you. So it's hard when we're being taught this across the business forever. And I hear it over and over and over. And I watch this stuff and I want to poke my own eyeballs out when I see it. That is the exact opposite way to attract people. So in the attraction process, let's talk about this little subtle shift in this consistent interaction, Craig. So somebody says, how's the real estate market? How's the real estate market? Hey, what's going on in the market? I heard the market shifting. How's the market is basically what they're asking, right? My response back to them is, hey, Craig, you know what? It's funny. People ask me that all the time. I do a real estate market video every single month that tells people what's going on in the market. Do you want me to send that to you? Now, I'm not selling anything. I'm offering, they asked me a question. They asked me for a hamburger. I offered them a hamburger. What do?
Hello, I'll give it to you.
I'm going to give you my name, address, email, and phone number. Make sure you spell it correctly. And I'm going to plug it right into my phone or whatever, so I can drop it into my CRM immediately. Okay. So the number one thing I need to be doing on a consistent basis in adding value is doing a market update on a monthly basis. Okay. Here's the reason why. Do you want to be paid like an expert?
Yes.
You're never going to be paid like an expert if you don't look like one, sound like one, walk like one, talk like one, right? If it walks and talks and quacks like a duck, it's probably a freaking duck. If it walks and talks and quacks like a stupid everyday realtor, it's probably a stupid everyday realtor. So how do we separate ourselves from that? We separate ourselves by doing simple. Sorry. This is the cleaned up version. You should have heard what Craig and I were talking about.
You should have heard the versions.
Yeah. So market update is the number one thing that says, okay, I'm just taking the information I know in the market and I'm just spitting it out of my pie hole. And then people go, well, that guy sounds like an expert. I'm like, I'm not an expert at all. I just know my basic numbers, right? Let me ask you this question, Craig. If you were a biologist, would you know what most of the body parts are and things? You'd know that, right?
Yeah.
If you were a chemist, would you know what the molecular structure of water is? You better.
If he was a bartender,
If he was a bartender, would you know what was in an old fashioned?
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Would you know that the real best old fashions, they put a little smoky cup over top of it, get a little smoky goodness, right? That's what somebody that knows Grand Marnier is perfect when it's served over a steaming cup of hot water because it warms it up and opens up the aromas, right? Like I'm not even a bartender, I know that stuff, right? So the key is like
Oh, son of a biscuit.
walks like a dog, talks like it's.
Oh, right. I gotta go this way.
Hey, Christina,
Christine, mute.
we want to mute there.
Mute.
Mute. We just heard you say, "Oh, son of a biscuit."
And that's a curse word for her, trust me.
I was driving. I'm driving. Sorry. Detour.
That's the dirtiest you got when you're driving. You're doing great. All right, so that was clean. So particularly from Jersey, right? I was born in North Jersey, man. Like you gotta hear my uncles talk. All right, so market update is the most important thing that you can do on a consistent basis because people, when they start saying, here's really what we do in a real estate market, here's what the market's really doing, here's what that means, then people start seeing you as an expert. If they start seeing you as an expert, they're going to ask you to communicate your experty stuff in your head to them and apply it to their world, which is turning you into a consultant. And that's when people pay you. Right. So if you want to get paid, get really good at communicating that info. So as a team lead, what I can do is I can get really good at doing that or have one of my team do that. And I can make sure everybody on the team knows this info. So when somebody goes, how's the market? They don't look like a monkey humping a football or an idiot salesperson. Like you don't want to be one of the bottom two most hated salespeople are real estate agents and used car salespeople. Right. That's a bottom two rated salespeople. Right. So I don't want to be either one of those. So when somebody says, hey, how's the market? Hey, I've got something for you. You want it? And they go, yeah, every single time, right? So fun part is this is a great tool for you to have on a monthly basis. So a couple of details about that. And by the way, I've got a short video on how and why to do a real estate market update and a sample if you'd like that. Craig, I sent that over to you. Okay?
Yep, I'll share it.
You can push that to your team, right? So the first thing
Right,
is
sure that.
I will.
a hyper local real estate market update because real estate is becoming much more hyper local. We are more connected than ever, easier to connect than ever, and real estate is becoming more hyper local. They want to do business. Most people want to do business with somebody they know first, if at all possible. And if they know them and they know they're the local market expert, you've got a way better shot at getting the gig. Okay, so becoming local expert, what are you doing? You're going to talk about the local, hyper local market info. Okay, so this morning I was talking with a group. I recorded it earlier. We were literally just talking about how to communicate market data information. By the way, Craig, I just shot that video like at 11 a.m. today. There's an hour talking to people I know, a couple of people I know, and going, all right, let me help you understand what's happened in the market, what's been going on in the market, where the market's going, and let's walk through like 5 or 6 different categories and how to talk about that. You're not going to talk about all of it. Just like, let's just talk about supply of homes. How do we talk about that? So I walked them through that. If you want me to send that to you, I can send that to you too. It gets into a lot of detail. I go into like, hey, by the way, if you live in a specific area within a 5-mile radius of this point, right? Within a 5-mile radius of Sweetheart Rock, everybody there knows that, right? Within 5-mile radius of downtown Plymouth, boom, everybody knows what that means in my area, okay? You're gonna do hyper local. The second one you're gonna be doing is you're gonna do an area, right? So if you see my Facebook post from yesterday, I did a live real estate market update nugget chunk for the whole Chicago area yesterday. Because everybody's going, market's going up, prices are going to start dropping, inventory is going up, sales are going down, average sales price is going to drop, right? That's what everybody's talking about. So I stood in front of them and I go, all right, guys, is that what you're hearing? And they're like, yeah. I said, it's all bullshit. Like, here's what's really going on. They're at a 1.7 month supply of homes. They are at 20,000 homes in their whole market versus 44 3 years ago. So you're half the inventory from 3 years ago when the market was flying, right? So when you look at the math and market in Chicago, those people didn't even know their own market was still flying. I said, how many of you guys had a buyer tried to buy a house, got outbid? And they're like, yeah. I was like, you see why? That's what happens at 1.7 month supply of homes. And they're like, oh. So you got to know the math. You got to know what it means. So I'll send you that extra video. It's rough, me talking to a couple people, but I get into a lot of detail on how to talk about the market. Okay. So I'll send that to you. You can forward it to whoever needs it. Okay. So you want to do local and area. Okay. If nothing else, you got to know that. So area is good because, like, for me, I'll do southeastern Michigan or I'll do Detroit Metro because I'm in Detroit Metro now. I'm west of the west suburbs between Detroit proper and Ann Arbor. So it's kind of its own little microcosm there too. But it's important for me to do area because somebody in Warren is going to move into Plymouth. Somebody in Plymouth is going to move out to Warren because they move jobs, they move whatever. They're still in the auto industry, but they went from Ford to GM. GM's in Warren, Ford's in Dearborn. So they're moving from point A to point B. So you want to know the area because most of the people that are moving in or out of your area are moving in or out of your area. You want to be the expert everywhere if you can, so that they say, hey, I'll call you. Even if I don't want to work East Philly, at least they call me and I'll refer to somebody in East Philly, right? Versus losing the opportunity, right? So with that being said, that's step one of being able to add value consistently. Make sure you're doing a monthly market update. You can do that via social. So first thing I would do is I would do this by social, throw it on social media, okay? When I throw that on social media, I'm gonna do the short update, and then 3 days later, I'm going to do a repeat. So I post it 2 times. Hey, just in case you missed it, here's a real estate market update for Detroit metro area. Not everybody saw it the first time through. People skipped over it, but they see it twice. Hey, I'm Russell Realtor. Here's a real estate market update. It gets you top of mind, talking real estate, looking like an expert. Most people are going to skip over it, but they see it twice and snag, right? If you post it once, you don't get the hit. You post it twice, you get double the eyeballs and repeats of some eyeballs, okay? So that's a good way to go. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to email this to everybody in your sphere of influence. So I could drop this really quick little video, and then I drop it on my YouTube channel, which is super easy to do. Guys, if you don't know how to do that, it's super easy. Even I know how to do it. You got this info, boom, email. So I pop that video. Hey, by the way, people always ask me what the market's doing. You're not going to believe these numbers for Chicago. That's my email. Here's the link. Check it out. 10% of people are going to open it, right? That's 10% more than 0. Okay, so you got some on social, some are going to catch it, some are going to watch, some aren't. And then some are going to see it on email, some are going to open it, some aren't. If you get really good with this, you can get an open rate in the 20% range. That would be considered amazing. Okay. But that's still 20% more than 0. They're not always going to open it. But when somebody say, hey, you know, we're thinking about selling our house, boom, that's when they need that email. So how do you know when to send them the email? You send it to them every month. Most of the time they're going to delete it. But when they start thinking house sale time, bam, that's when they're going to open that email and watch it. So the ones that watch it are probably the ones that are interested in thinking about doing something. Are those the people you want to see it and you want it there when they're ready? Yes. So we call it being in the flow. So if you guys ever read Ninja Selling by Larry Kendall, great book. Ninja Selling talks about being in the flow. You want to be there when they start thinking house sale. Okay. So that's like step 1. Now here's a fun part. Step 2. This is something that blows people up most of the time. Okay. Step 2. How do you become the person that is their go-to person consistently for other stuff so that when they do start thinking house sale, they think of you? If you get somebody in a position where they're actually saying, hey, I use Russ, I call Russ whenever I need anything for my house, who are they going to call when it's time to sell? Right? Me. So the next part of this value part is you're going to do market update. And then the second part is you're going to do a contractor list. Okay. You're gonna do a contractor list. And the reason you're gonna do a contractor list is because I don't know about you, Craig. But yeah, there you go. I don't know about you, Craig, but does your house stay self-healing? Or is it more like a self-destroying 3-year-old toddler?
More or less like a 3-year-old toddler.
Much more like a 3-year-old unsupervised toddler, right? You leave that house alone for a little while, it will wreck itself. Okay. So there's always something needing to be done on a house. So why, as a real estate agent, aren't we the resource for that? We're the house specialist, we're the house expert, right? A house expert would have a resource. Like, listen, if I'm a water supply expert, I would have resources for water supply, don't you think? I'm a car fixing specialist. I know how to fix a car, right? I'm not saying you need to know how to fix a house, but what I would simply say is, as a real estate expert, should you have a whole Rolodex of people that are at your fingertips and then let everybody else know, hey guys, listen, I'm in the real estate business. People always ask me how the market, here you go. And by the way, if you ever have anything blow up on your house, let me know. I have a preferred contractor list of people we've vetted so we know they're good. So with that said, I put together a list of 60 different house related things, and contractors are related to houses or things that you pay with regard to houses. And somebody say, hey, Russ, do you have a, or do you know a, or who do you know that does? I put together a whole list of that. So I got a list of 60 different trades and so forth that goes along with houses off the top of my head. That's what I put together. 60 of them, right? Like, yeah, well, I was a contractor. So I like, just walk through Home Depot. You're like, who puts that on? Who does that? Who touches that? Who uses that? There's your list, right? You can literally just go up and down Home Depot. Like, who would touch that? Well, that would be a carpenter. Who would touch that? That would be a plumber. Who would touch that? Electrician, right? So I started with the big ones and worked my way down. So I put together a list of 60 of those. So Craig, I offered that list to you. So if you'd like,
I will share it with everybody.
Share with it. Okay, so there's a list there. And at the bottom of the list has got a little instruction manual on how to find these people, right? So I'm going to go on social again. This is an actual good use of social media. And I'm going to say, hey guys, I'm looking for a good plumber. that shows up on time, is a fair price, doesn't smell like stinky feet and burnt bacon, and communicates on a regularly decent basis. And what's going to happen is people are going to give you their people that they've used recently that fit that criteria. Make sure you tell them what area you want too. You're like, hey guys, I'm looking for a plumber. I'm like, what freaking state are you in? I don't know. I got people in every state in the country. Like, tell me what state you're in. What state, what town? Like Southwest Chicago. I need a good plumber in Southwest Chicago, right? I need a good plumber in North Chicago. Okay, so that's the kind of thing you're going to get. And what'll happen is you're going to find that the people are engaging are probably your A group people. These are your most likely suspects in your sphere to do business with you, because those are people that engage with you, right? So what you can say is, hey, thank you for your contractor. By the way, if you ever need anybody else, don't hesitate to reach out to me, because I'm compiling a whole list of these people. Now, those people not only gave you something, but you've offered to give them something back as thanks. And by the way, do you get my real estate market update? Boom. Now you got that one tool, just got posted on social twice. They pop in, give you a contractor. Hey, by the way, do you get my social media market? Do you get my market update? And they go, well, no, actually I don't. Great. Let me put you on my list. Boom. Just added somebody to their sphere. Give me your info. Boom. I'll shoot this out to you once a month. Check it out once in a while. Even every 4 or 5 months, just take a look at it. It's good to know what's going on in the market. Okay. And most of those people say, thanks, I appreciate it. So I could build out a whole contractor list with that. Now here's where the multiplier comes in. And Craig, I think you probably got a kick out of this when you're at the bottom. You got 60 of those, right? Well, so here's the thing, guys. Let's think about houses. Do you have high-end homes and low-end homes? Yep. So do we need a high-end plumber and a low-end plumber? 2 different people, 2 different styles, 2 different prices, 2 different knowledge bases. They do a lot of the same stuff, but differently, okay? So do you need a high-end person and a low-end person? Yep. So I need a high-end plumber. I need a budget fix and flipper plumber, handyman plumber. You got 2 different people, right? And by the way, they give you somebody. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out and say, hey, Mr. Plumber guy, so-and-so referred me to you. They said you did a good job. I just want to touch base and tell you I'm going to throw you on my system. And if somebody asks me for a good plumber, I'm going to be referring you as plumber, and I'll let you know or text you when they're going through. If you just give me a call and let me know that's okay with you, that'd be great. And what do? Half of them never call you back. If they don't call me back, are they going to call my clients back? Nope. So do I really want those people on my list? Nope. Great way to vet them right out of the gate. If they don't call me, they don't have a system in place to be able to get me called back, they're not going to call my clients. I don't want them on my list. Okay. Give them 2 or 3 days. If they don't respond, fine, go to the next guy. So you can just pick away at doing this throughout the week, and you start building out this list. Now, when you get somebody that responds, contractor, you're like, man, I can't believe you responded to me. Thank you for that. Not everybody calls me back. So I appreciate that. So you just went to the top of my list. So thank you for responding, because this is what I expect with my customers. Okay. So by the way, also you're in the business too. You're talking houses, touching houses all the time. Do you get a copy of my real estate market update? And they're like, no, I don't. Well, great. What I'll do is I'll throw you on my list and I'll send you my real estate market update, so you know what's going on in the market, since you're in houses all the time. And by the way, you probably live in a house too, right? Yeah. Okay, good. So I'll drop that out to you as a value piece. Cool. They're like, yeah, great. So now you've got some kind of trade of information. And guess what else I just did? I just added another person to my sphere. And I'm adding value to them. And I'm going to send them some business. Pretty cool way to double up. Now I've tripled up on what I'm doing with my real estate market update. And I'm pushing it back around. Okay. So here's the thing. I need a high-end person and I need a low-end person, which means that 60 list just doubled into 120. Right. And then, by the way, my good person is good, so they're busy. So I need a backup just in case my good guy's busy. So I need 2 good guys. And I need 2 bargain guys. So I double that, which means now my contractor list turns into 240 different trades. So here's the fun part. I'm adding my real estate market update to every one of those contractors too. With that said, I've got 240 of them. Now I know from history, my contractor list does not convert at nearly the same rate as my sphere, because of just the nature of what they do and how they do it. But I would say your contractor list can convert it closer to 5%. So instead of getting 24 sales out of that, you only get 12. But if you've got 200 people in your sphere with 20 sales, you add that contractor list and add 12, now you get 32 sales in a year by adding that contractor list. And you're communicating, and you're adding value, you're building your sphere, and you're becoming a resource for your current people in your sphere, which means if they'll call you when it's time to call a plumber, they need a plumber, they're going to call you when it's time to sell their house, most likely. Not always, but many, many times, right? Because now you're their expert and a resource. Good? Does this make sense? You're like, holy crap, this actually makes sense. This looks like a recipe I can actually do. And this is something you can fill in around your normal business, right? Okay, so now we're looking at 200 people in your sphere, which most people normally have. Do a good job with this. Add your contractor, it pops you up into 32 sales a year, which puts you at icon status in EXP with a $500 $400,000 average sales price, you're hitting icon. So that alone right there will pop you up into icon status if you have a normal sphere. Now you might say, well, Russ, I don't have 200 people in my sphere. All right, cool. So here's what you got to do. Start going out and living life and enjoying yourself. Join a freaking bowling league. Go to a roller skating derby. Start a walking group. Start a book club. Start showing up at other people's book clubs. Start becoming the greeter at church so you can meet everybody when they come in the door. Hi, I'm Russ Lagan. Glad to see you today. Say hi to Jesus for me. Whoop, smack him on the butt. Let him in. Right? Sorry, that's why I'm not allowed to be a greeter anymore. Kidding. Desiree's like, oh no, you didn't. So
Hey, Des, you froze.
yeah. So here's the thing.
Normally be laughing.
Yeah, doing little things like that puts you in front of stuff. It's like, start getting engaged, start participating, start showing up. This is the way you build a sphere business, right? So if you're not going to be paying and chasing leads and paying a bunch of money for leads that convert at a way lower rate, this is a really great way to build your business. So let's talk about that lead generation stuff from non-sphere stuff. Do you know what those convert at? Craig, did you catch that?
1 to 2%.
Yeah, so when they're doing a good job, when normal lead generation stuff converts at a 0.25 to 0.5 in the first 30, 60, 90 days, right? If you work this potentially for 8 to 12 months, the conversion goes up to 2% if you do a really great job. Okay, 2% if you do a really great job over 8 to 12 months versus 10%. So when people are saying to me, Russ, you don't realize, man, this real estate business is really hard. Well, yeah, you're working 5 times harder than I am working on the same stuff. So I do the same thing and get 5 times the result because I'm doing business with people I know, like, and trust, people I've met mountain biking and doing things we have connections. Okay. When you're dealing with people you don't have connections with, the hit rate is way lower. You're not the one in a relationship. So look at it like this. Will you ever list the house of somebody that doesn't know you? Nope, you can't, right? You cannot list the house of somebody that doesn't know you. Look at Scooby. Hi, Scooby. Puppy dog. He railed the whole meeting.
Rudy.
Yeah, beauty. It's a cute little thing.
Office mascot.
Nice, good. I gotta have a mascot. I've got a couple of greyhounds that are rescue dogs, so we love dogs in my
One
house.
of them.
One of
our mascots.
One of the mascots. All right. So do you want to work on a 2% return, 2% return conversion, or do you want to work on a 10%? You should be working on 10% first. And then if you've got some extra time, then take some lead gen stuff. Right. So this is where we can really leverage the business and work way less hours and make way more money. A lot of people go like, oh, I'm working $1 million. Start working on this stuff. You can actually cut your hours back because it's less effort to get the better results. Okay. So that's part of the game. So now you've got value, you've got market, you've got the contractor list you can build. I've got the white paper for you to be able to push out for that, Craig, that you can send out to them. And then the last part here is the we're on C. The last part of this thing is social media campaign that is not look at me, I'm a realtor campaign. This is promoting other people's businesses, right? So I can do a social media campaign to promote other people's businesses. Okay. And I don't know if you guys were all at EXPCon, but at EXPCon, there's this guy named John Cheplack. If you don't know who he is or have seen him before, John Cheplack's a pretty badass baller guy, teaches people how to attract business and recruit people. And he said, hey guys, stop doing the stupid social media crap every other stupid real estate agent is doing. It's making them look stupid and sound stupid. Start doing social media stuff that actually makes sense and makes you sound smart and look like you know what you're doing, right? And the best thing you could do is follow some advice from some marketing companies. So here's what the marketing company did. Marketing company went out and said, hey, we got to do a better job. Something's missing. We got to figure this out. So they survey all their people. And as they go through all the survey information, one of the things that they teased out of the survey information was that 63% of their customers have dogs. So the marketing company says, well, shoot, if 63% of our people have dogs like Michael does, right? Every time you see a dog, all the dog people are like, oh, puppy, right? And it connects them to something they love. So what they did is they shifted all their marketing stuff to include dogs in their marketing. And what happened to their business? Their business went up 500%, right? 500% just by shifting the marketing to include dogs in it. It touched all the dog people. 500 is, if it was 100%, it would have been astronomical. 500 was mind-boggling, but they connected to something. They didn't connect to everybody. They connected to 63% of them at a really high level. This is part of what that social stuff does, right? So for you, if you say, hey, a bunch of my people are dog people too, I can do a social media post and say, hey, I'm Russ the Realtor, and I'm checking out dog parks today. Check this out. This is one location at blah, blah, blah. So if you got a dog, take Scooby out here and have fun. Look at my little one go. That's your social media. Like, you're not saying, look at me, I'm a realtor. here's me, I just sold a stupid house. Here's me and my stupid fake key, showing somebody a stupid fake key and a stupid fake house with my stupid fake customers. There's like, not doing that, not doing that. Look at me, I'm a realtor crap that even your friends get sick of looking at. Right? So you're doing stuff that is interesting to them. And I say, hey, look at me, I'm Russ, a realtor, and I'm at the dog park with my Scooby. Check it out. Right? Or, by the way, anybody here a foodie, like food, right? So twice a week, I'm going to go somewhere cool and unique, and I'm going to do a quick review. Hey, I'm Russ. This is Russ Lagan, real estate dude, and I'm at Yellow Dog Restaurant. If you guys haven't been here, this place is cool, man. It looks like the termites already had a buffet, ate half the building. But I will tell you what, this is a cool, wacky, neat place. The restaurant is interesting and unusual, very much Florida Americana style. And by the way, check out the menu. The menu's interesting. It's funny. It's got some really snarky stuff in the menu. So you make sure you read every detail in the menu. It's interesting. The food is fantastic. Price is good. And by the way, if you get here early, you can sit in a Volkswagen Bug in the backyard or Volkswagen van in the backyard and have dinner with your family. Cool place to go. Good price, good food, cold beer, fun environment. You got to check out Yellow Dog. I'm Russell Realtor. See you next week. Gone. Right? So now what do? Is I meet the owner, the manager of that place, and I connect to that guy. And I say, hey, by the way, I just did a quick little video on your thing, on your little restaurant. I'm going to be posting on social media. Do you want me to send you a copy of it? And he's like, yes, I do. Right? Because I just promoted his restaurant for free. And he's like, what do you do? Sure. Here, by the way, I'll give this to you. You can promote it on your social media too. It's me promoting your business on your social media. Now he's got a win. He's got some free marketing. He's got a little extra push. I'm doing a little extra push, makes this place look good. And now what? I add this guy to my sphere of influence. Ding. Right? So I wrote together a list. By the way, I published a list that I wrote down, like spitballing off the top of my head, all the different things that you can do social media on. So I wrote a white paper on that with a little bit of detail on how to do that. And I sent that to Craig. So do you guys want that too? Tells you how to do that social media thing. Yeah, good. So he's going
They sold it out.
to send that to you also.
Had to get on the call.
Yes.
Craig's holding out.
Yes.
Couldn't, I had
Nice.
to let
This is
Russ
good
unveil
stuff.
it, man.
This
Hey,
is-
Russ, I just got approved as, what's the Google's, local something, local?
Sexiest beast.
Yeah, right? The thing that you're allowed to put local reviews, like I could go out to a place.
Yeah.
They just approved me. I could take the pictures, post it, and I go up as like a local expert now. And it
Yeah,
has my
perfect.
name as that. So
Right.
yeah, so exactly what you're saying.
Now I know why Google's earnings came in bad today.
And this is not Craig's weight loss program. This is Craig's like, I'm growing.
There you go.
I am growing, right? But man, I'm eating good.
Here we go. Let's go.
Good in the hood, right? So guys, if you do this consistently, you've got a bunch of different businesses. So think about it. Your yoga studio, your massage place, your ice cream place. And like, hey guys, I am an ice cream honk. I am on the bender for the best butter pecan ice cream in town. And by the way, I'm right now at Baskin & Robbins. This is probably going to be not the best, but let's check it out. Right? Boom, boom, boom. It is pretty good. Then you go to the little local place and you go to and you can just be the freaking ice cream dude, right? You can be the freaking ice cream man. Wear a freaking hat if you want to. I don't care how you do it. Just be known for something, find some kind of niche and have some fun with it, right? Hey, by the way, I like bowling. We're checking out every bowling alley in town. Man, you got to check out this cool old retro place. This place has been here since the 20s. Let me introduce you to the guy that runs it. Boom. Bowling dude. This is a cool place, man. How long's it been here? 1920. Cool. Have you been here the whole time? Seriously? Yeah, no, seriously. You've been here the whole time. You look like Yoda. Give the guy a hard time, have some fun with it, promote his business, and then make sure you send him a copy, drop him in your sphere. Okay, so this is building a lifestyle business, doing things you're already doing. You're doing things that are interesting. You're like, well, what am I gonna do? Hey, Friday night, I'm gonna take my wife out to dinner. We're gonna go to some unique, weird place, which is kind of fun. And I'm just gonna do a super quick, short outside. Hey, I'm Russell Realtor. I'm at Yellow Dog. Check this out. And my wife liked it too. See, honey? Ah, my dog liked the dog park. Look at him, he's smiling. Right, so those are the types of things you start doing on social that make people start to go, hey, 500% increase in your business is likely because you're doing things that are interesting to people, okay? So start off with doing a really good real estate market update. You can tie that to everybody. Every place I meet on social and say, hey, by the way, to get my market update? No, good, let me send it to you. Give me your info, boom, drop them the market update. Contractor list, got my market info, boom, market update. So now you got one tool you're using on 5 different ways. Okay. And you can build your sphere this way. And by the way, it's way more fun to do business like this. So, you know, you're doing a good job working your sphere if you're converting at 10%. Okay. And you're going to sell more houses. So now, but wait, there's more. Do you know why that works? I don't know why it works, but it works. There's a reason the infomercials all do it because they tested 100 ways to do this and they came up with but wait, there's more. And people go, really? There's more? It just works on human nature, okay? So here's the thing, guys. Now here's the recipe. Remember, we started off with this. Sell more houses, make more money, attract more people, which helps you sell more houses. Right? Sell more houses, talk about stuff that these people want to care about, and they're going to help you sell more houses, right? And in the process of selling houses, how many of those house sales have a real estate agent on the other side of the deal? A bunch of them, right? So typical, normal, it wouldn't be unusual to have, 10% or so of your deals are double-sided, if you're allowed to do that where you are. In a couple of states I work in, I can double-side to buyer seller side. So, but that only happens around 10% of the time, plus or minus. The most recent market listings were getting double-sided by agents that were keeping pocket listings because they already knew 10 people that wanted to buy a house and they didn't care what it was. So that number went through the roof in the last 4, 5, 6 years. But in a normal market, which we're shifting back towards more, hopefully, in a more normal market, around 10% of the deals will be double-ended. Okay, so what that means is on 30 sales, you've got 27 realtors on the other side of those sales. Most of the time, it's going to be 27 different realtors on the other side of those sales. So here's what you do, guys. Ready for next level, EXP style? This is something you can only do here or very, very few other places. Every one of these real estate agents on the other side, when I do a real estate transaction with them, I get done, say, hey, this is Russ, just want to say, hey, thank you very much. It was really great doing a real estate deal with you. And I just want to make sure you get my real estate market update every month. So I just add value to you. So you mind if I send that to you? They're like, hell yeah, right? Because they don't know. How many realtors are sending you their market update, telling you what's going on in the market? None, okay? You become a resource for them, right? And then in the process, by the way, if you ever need a contractor, don't hesitate to reach out to me. And they're like, well, just give me your list. Well, actually, the list changes all the time because some people are good, some people are bad. So I just kind of hang on to it. So let me know when you need somebody and I'll send you the most updated version because there's people coming on and off the list all the time. If they don't do a good job, boom, they get booted off. If I get somebody that's recommended is really great, I'll plug them in, right? So the list is constantly moving around. So I don't want to hand you a list and a year later you're using an old list. So just let me know when you need something and I'll send it out to you. Cool? Good. By the way, if you ever see anything in my market update and you want to chat about it or you're seeing something different, let me know because I don't see everything. Like you're the man in Heritage Isles. So if you see something in Heritage Isles I need to know about, let me know about it, right? And then I'll make sure that I keep it up to speed and I tell people about it. Good. So now you're making connections with real estate agents. You're adding value. You also give them access to your contractor list, which also adds value. On a monthly basis, you're able to add value to them because now they're on your market update list. Now you have a reason to connect with them. Every 4, 5, 6 months, if you're saying, hey, Russ, that's a little too passive for me, I want to be a little more active, great. About every 3 or 4 months, I'm going to make a phone call to my realtor list and say, hey, by the way, this is Russ, just want to touch base with you. Hey, how things going? How's your business going? It's great doing that transaction with you. By the way, you still getting my market update? Did you check it out this month? Did you see me telling you on their 1.7 month supply of homes? Median sales price has gone up $60,000 over the last 3 years. Did you catch that? And they're going to say, yeah, yeah, or no, no. Great. Are you seeing anything different that I'm not? What are you seeing? And then let them blabber. They don't know shit half the time. They're going to spitball and make crap up, but you're going to let them blabber for a little while and talk about whatever they want to talk about. You're just building a relationship. Hey, it's great chatting with you. I'll shoot you my market update next week. And by the way, don't forget, if you ever need a contractor, let me know. Or if you get a great one, send them to me. I'll put them on my list too. Cool. Great. Is that an interesting way to have a different conversation with a real estate agent? I didn't try to sell them anything. Right? Now I'm building rapport, I'm building a relationship. And when time comes and somebody in their office does something stupid, or their broker goes out of business, or their broker has a heart attack, or their favorite trainer dies, or their favorite trainer just moves on business, or better yet, their team leader moves to EXP, ha, 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 here we go. Who are they going to call? They're more likely to call me because I've been a resource. Okay? Like it's like something wrong with this guy. All right. So do you see how this whole thing becomes a holistic way of building relationship first? And by the way, you're still focused on this, making the real money. And then as you start adding these, just think about it, like add 3 or 4 or 5 in a year out of 27 people in a year. Do you think you get a couple of them that want to have this conversation at some point, would benefit from being here? If you don't think some of those people would benefit from being here, we need to have a talk about that because you're missing the boat there too. It's a pretty damn good place to build a business. Okay. So with that said, start getting that upside 5, 6, 7 years from now. Now you've got 15, 17, 18 people in your system. And then they've got some people and some people and some people. And next thing you know, you got 20, 30, 50, 70, $350 checks coming in a month. Now you can say, I could sell one less house. Better yet, I'm going to refer it out. Desiree still hasn't got there yet. Desiree hasn't still got there yet. So I'll push a couple business to her. Desiree, would you take a 50-50 split on any deal I don't want to touch? Yes, she would, right? She don't even have, you can freeze all you want. Yes, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Said every realtor every time that doesn't have 30 sales a year. They're like, oh, hell yeah, I take that. Okay. So there's plenty of people I can start pushing some of this off, and I can put more of my focus on this for a little while and set myself up long-term. Okay. So how's that for you?
Russ,
Yes,
I have a quick question for you.
bring it on.
You had mentioned that you are in other markets as well as the Chicago area. Do you do the same thing in each of those other areas?
Okay, so good question. So what you're talking about is expansion teams type of mentality. Okay, so first things first, I say get good at your hyper local first, because it's your best opportunity, best connection, best relationship. And then from there, now, by the way, I was in Chicago. I live outside of Detroit, between Detroit and Ann Arbor. I lived in Tampa for 16 years. I have a bunch of contacts in Tampa. I have not currently done and don't currently do a real estate market update in Tampa, because I gave basically all my stuff to my buddy Sean down there, which, by the way, he paid me 50% for like 2 years on 400 sales, and I never touched a single one of them. So like, I like money doing nothing more than anything else. If I could make money doing nothing, that's my favorite thing in the world. And with that said, I'm willing to work my ass off so I don't have to do that. So I gave Sean basically that whole sphere and let him work through it, cashed in big on it. And now he kind of runs that. So I don't really tread on his stuff. So I'm not going to send that stuff to that list on top of him. Okay. However, if I had, let's say Craig is in Philly, I'm like, hey, Craig, you're my only guy in Philly that's with EXP under me. Here's what I'm going to do. Every month, what I'd like you to do is send me some of the market info. I'll do a market update for you for Philly. Now I become valuable as a leader. Okay, so I can talk through this information, really make it make sense. And I send it over, hey, Craig, just send me the info. Here's what I need. These 3 or 4 basic numbers. I'll spitball a quick thing together, shoot it over to you. You can post it on your social. I'll post it on my social, and you can use that and run like heck with it. Now, the cool part is Craig can send it out and go, hey, this is a local real estate expert and knows stuff about real estate. You got to check this out. And people go, ooh, yeah, cool. Now it's not me, but Craig's connecting them to an expert. He becomes the expert by association. Right? So can I do that? Yes. What I'm probably better off doing for Craig's benefit is doing it enough times so Craig learns how to do it, and he does it so well, he doesn't need me. Now I've empowered somebody. So now I'm not just being a leader, I'm creating leaders. So my highest best goal is to create leaders that lead people at a really high level. Okay. So Craig can do that and I'm going to show him how to do it a couple of times. I'm going to work with him on it a couple more times. I'm going to let him do it and watch him the 3rd, the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th time. And then I'm going to just let him do his own thing and ask questions as you need. Now I'm empowering him to work the system. Good.
There's something that was key that you said, Russ, and I know you're in a mindset here, but you'd also said, don't do it company centric. Make it in-centric. Talk about you. You're the real estate dude. You're Russ Langdon, the real estate dude.
I'm Russ, the real estate
I'm
dude.
Craig Lerch, the real estate optimistic guy, or the old guy, or the open-minded guy, whatever you want it to be. But that's it. Don't say your company don't do anything else, because you never know who's going to take it and reshare it to their clients, their sellers, whatever it may be. You don't know who they're going to do it. They're going to, hey, by the way, here's a market update. This is what's going on. It's from another person. They don't think. 80% of the market doesn't think what's going on.
Well, when I'm talking to these realtors, I'm like, hey, by the way, when I do my market update, I don't brand it, right? I'm just Russ the Realtor, right? You can send it to your people and say, hey, here's Russ the Realtor, local expert talking about what's going on in the market. If you have any questions, call me. In my videos, I'll say, hey, by the way, reach out to the person that sent you this video. You'd be like, why the hell would you do that, Russ? Because their favorite people are not going to do business with me. Why would I even think, like, their sisters should not be doing business with me? Like, the last thing I would do is steal their sister's deal, and then I'd blow them off the wall. Instead of getting $350 every month for 10 years, I get nothing, right? So like, why would I do that? So I want to say, well, how do I add value to them across the board? So I do it unbranded, because what I don't want to do is EXP all over everything or EX poop on everything. Nobody else wants to touch it, right? It's like going and licking doorknobs. Nobody wants to touch it after you licked it. I'm like, hey, Craig's here. Look, we have donuts. And he's like, he licks all 12 of them. You're like, well, great, dude. Just because you licked them doesn't mean they're yours. I'm still not going to eat them, but that's disgusting, right? Stop it. So stop licking the donuts, send it out there so other people can take that and use that and spread it around and not afraid to touch it, right? And then they're not afraid of me being like, oh, it's a stupid EXP guy. By the way, guys, if you haven't caught wind yet, there's a lot of EXP people that have EX pooped in the pool. And it makes it really hard for some of us because now we got to unscramble the bullshit that they did to people to get to the point where they're like, oh, you're not like that other knucklehead that's just trying to sell me. And every time I show up and they tell me my business is stupid, KW stupid, Coldwell Banker's full of idiots, and all this stuff people are talking, I'm going, guys, stop it. Stop it. Nothing wrong with Coldwell Bankers. It's not the right fit for me. Nothing wrong with KW. It's not the right fit for me. Because for me, I like to sell houses, like to make money, attract more people. And in the process, while I'm doing that, I can leverage some of that stuff and I can get paid 3 or 4 or 5 other ways that most people can't in most businesses, including taking my 6% franchise fee. Instead of doing that, I pay 5% to myself, get a 10% return right out of the gate. 10 years later, that adds up to thousands and tens of thousands of dollars. So instead of me paying in $180,000 in franchise fees over the next 10 years, I pay myself $180,000. I get it at a 10% discount. And if that stock goes up at all, I could have $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in my own pocket versus paying a franchise. That to me is just smart economics. Okay. If you don't agree with that, fine, stay where you're at. But for me, I'd like to have that extra 200. So if I do that, and then I do the other stock and I get the stock grants and I do a little bit of rev share here and there, and then I do the couple other things, next thing you know, I'm sitting in a spot where I've got 3 or 4 or 5 other ways of making 200 grand. I got an extra $1 million in my pocket when I retire versus doing exactly the same thing there and having none of that. Okay. If you want to keep doing it, knock yourself out. If you want to give yourself the best advantage, this is what I found. You might agree, you might not. Fine, either way. The ones that get it, get it. The ones that don't yet. They might get it later. They might not. They might never get it. Hey, listen, I didn't get it the first time or the second time or the third time because nobody positioned it. What was in it for me? They're like, let me tell you how great EXP is. Well, whatever. Tell them what's in it for them, right? Show them, here's where I am. Here's where you want to be. Let me show you a couple ways you can get there. So you want to retire in 10 years? Great. How are you going to get there? If I can show you 2 or 3 ways to get there faster, easier, with a better chance, you still got to do the work, but it gives you a better chance. Would you like to talk about that? Yeah, sure. Okay, great. So let's talk about that. Boom. Now I can show them how to get to point B. And next thing you know, they're going, hey, I could do that. Ah, okay, cool. So now what do you want to do? Hit the damn button. Join. That's recruiting, right?
People swimming towards you as we talk, just like clients. You want to work with clients that work with people that want to work with you. You have that, Mike, you've had it, we've all had it, that horrible client. We're like, why did I take that client on? I knew it wasn't going to work. And every time the phone rings, you cringe. You're like, but it's
I have 10 of them right now. Or
You get a basket full of baby birds that are just screaming for worms all the time. And here's the thing, Michael, what you can do is you start saying, okay, guys, here's what we got to do. You got to put together your list of sphere. Anybody that's not willing to do that doesn't get to stay on the team. I don't want baby birds that are in the nest and never going to leave. I want baby birds, we can grow some feathers and kick them out because then I can help them build their own nest. We can make even more money. They can make money and I can make money. Now I'm creating leaders. I'm creating adult birds that build their own nests. That's the ideal scenario, right? So let me just give you one piece of information here, just so you guys understand who said this. Like this might add a little bit of credibility. So Craig, I threw you a couple of stats, right? So do I know anything about attraction? So from January 2021 to end of March this year with another brokerage, my team of people doing this stuff and teaching this stuff recruited and hired 2,079 agents with 5.8 per person productivity, which is really high. It's 25-30% over national standard, right? So we attracted on average 30% over national average, 2,079 of them, over 12,000 transactions to the bottom line for that company in 15 months. So when you want to say, hey, does this guy actually know what he's talking about? I don't know. Sure. And by the way, knowing all that and all the crazy shit my team did to do that, I'm telling you guys, this is what I would do if I were you, because this works really well for an agent like you. If you want to build an ISA and you want to build a funnel and you want to build all the other crap and spend $1 million on marketing, I can show you how to tag 2,000 people in a year. Okay, just did it. With that being said, this is the recipe, knowing everything I know and recruiting hundreds of real estate agents personally to my own brokerages and other people's brokerages I was running. This is the recipe that works really, really well. It's enjoyable. You make way more money and it's something that's sustainable. That's what I'm offering. So there's the sales pitch. So you go, should I listen to this guy? Yeah, well, it works. There's the credibility says it works. Okay. And that's the best recipe for you guys. I got to go. I'm losing my voice again.
And he's a cool dude.
I'm starting to sound like Craig now. Like,
oh, really?
I got a little gravelly stuff. Yeah,
I'll see you, man.
It's cool. Bye-bye. All right,
I
guys. See you
appreciate it.
later. Craig, I'll send
Thanks,
you,
Russ.
I'll send you a link to this. Go
Thanks.
get some, guys.
Thank you.
Let Craig know your questions and Craig will.
That was great. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. See you guys. Bye.
All right,
Yeah.